And that was Feel Bad by A Story Told off their upcoming album, Good Looks, right here on In the Pit, Penn's Peak Radio. And this album, ladies and gents, is going to be released tomorrow, October 13th, tomorrow already. And I've been telling you and reminding you, and if it's anything like the few singles we have already, it's going to be an awesome, awesome album. Now, tonight, I am lucky enough to be chatting with Josh of A Story Told on the phone with me. How are you doing tonight, Josh?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I mean, we're obsessed with your music here, so we're so excited to hear this new album.
That is really awesome to hear. I'm excited to talk to you guys.
Awesome. So it's literally hours before the release. I'm sure you're bursting at the seams. What is the headspace you and the guys are in right now?
Like you said, we're extremely excited to put out this record. It's been, months and months of hard work and such a lead up to this moment that we're just, we're ready for people to hear it. And so we're just extremely excited.
Awesome. So, Good Looks, it's your third release now. What did you want to try out this time compared to your previous records that you haven't tried?
This time around, I don't know. I think we were a lot more focused going into this record. We knew we wanted to try something different. We wanted to go a more poppy route with this record. So, yeah, I think that's kind of, the mentality going into the record. And there was a lot of stuff that we didn't get to say in the last record that we really wanted to hit on this release. So, yeah, I think it was like the perfect opportunity to try that, say a little more in what we were thinking, and then also combine it with this new direction that we wanted to go.
Awesome. Would you say that there's any maybe songs from the last record that didn't make the album that you brought back this time at all?
That's an interesting question. We started completely from scratch from this record. There were some songs that didn't make the cut on Keep Watch that we thought about, putting on this release, but the more and more we started writing and recording, it just didn't feel right on this new record. So anything that was put on this release was totally from scratch.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, you guys, you keep pumping out like these awesome music. I mean, we don't have that much time in between, and we keep getting more music from you guys. So when did you start then, would you say, writing this album? When was the first guitar notes or lyrics written down that you wanted to start getting together for?
Yeah. Like you said, we're a band that likes to stay busy. Yeah. Writing music is one of our favorite parts of being in a band. But as for this release, we pretty much started writing for this release earlier this year. We kind of had the idea of doing another record towards the end of last year, just because we put out Keep Watch in the spring of 2016, and its success just kind of blew us away. We're like, man, people actually kind of care about our music and like to listen to it. So it just, it just kind of motivated us to get right back in the studio and see what else we could do. So I would say, January 1st of this year, we hit the studio hard, started writing and recording this release.
Wow. Jeez. Did touring at all affect what you heard from your fans and how you wanted to get back in the studio and write with?
Yeah, I think so. Like you said, we hit the road right after we put out Keep Watch in the spring of last year. And we were, going to all these different cities and talking to people and just really seeing how, our music was connecting with fans. And I mean, it was such an influential thing that we were actually impacting people with our music, and that we want to continue to do that. So yeah, it was definitely an influence in getting back into the studio so quick.
That's awesome. I mean, we started off with Feel Bad, and again, between the lyrics and the chords, everything, I love this song. And for the most part, listening to lyrics, listeners can kind of understand what the song is about. But how it's a straight point. Yeah. How did this song come about for you guys? Where did it start? Where it came from?
Well, Feel Bad, it was kind of written right in the middle of the writing recording process. We kind of had an idea on where we wanted to take this album. And we were just, grinding so hard to try to, make that come to life. But we were just getting really kind of almost exhausted with, trying to meet that expectation that we had or that we thought we had.
Yeah.
So literally one day in the studio, we were like, you know what? Let's just try something fun. Let's just try something that we haven't done before and just see what happens. And that's kind of the result with Feel Bad. We kind of took that frustration, put it into lyrics. We kind of want to do what we want to do and not really feel bad about it. We don't want to feel the pressure of, the outside world or even our expectations for what we wanted to be as a band, let that affect what we were trying to do. And then we just kind of like rolled with that idea, you know, like that was making us feel like, you know, feel bad or the pressure of that. You know, people are going through things, you know, in their own life that they're feeling pressure as well. So we just kind of took that whole idea and just wrote a song out of it. And I think it was kind of the, you know, the spark that we needed in the studio to finish the record. And I'm really happy that song, you know, made it and exists. And yeah, we're all just thrilled on that track in particular.
Yeah, it's such a good song. And I mean, the music video, like, you don't want to stop, like, watching it. You don't want to stop listening to it. Everything of the sort.
That's awesome.
So, when you were saying you were in the studio rolling back and forth with this, were you guys, for the most part, self-producing, or did you have a producer? How did that work for you guys?
We did a little bit of both this time. We went with a producer. His name's Jason Leeser. He's out of Columbus, Ohio. He worked on the last release, so we had him on this release as well. But we were like way more involved in the producing side this time around. Okay. We kind of like co-produced it with him. So yeah, it was just a little bit of both. It was a different, you know, procedure this time around.
Yeah. And I mean, with that, did you find yourselves in the studio, was there a certain aspect that really just opened your eyes for this album, either learning from him or just finding it in yourselves?
You know what? I think we went into it with so much expectation and what we wanted to get out of this record, where at some point we just had to like do what we felt was right. I think that was that moment.
Okay. That's awesome. Well, I mean, we've been lucky now to hear a few songs off the record, and what's the one that we haven't heard yet that you're most excited for people to hear?
I am really pumped on a track called Red. It's kind of in the middle of the record, and I would say it's probably the most different song that we've done, and so I'm really, really excited for somebody to hear that song.
Oh, that's fun, because it's coming out tomorrow, and we're definitely going to take a listen to that song and see why it stands out to you.
It's catchy, and I don't know, I think people will enjoy that one.
Cool. Awesome. And I mean, getting to listen to Feel Bad and Good as Gold and Teenage Horror, I'm getting almost like kind of a youthful spirit on the album. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, we wanted to make a really fun record, but we wanted to have a really deep message with the record. So it's kind of really like a sarcastic thing. Even like the title, Good Looks, it's very sarcastic and playful. But we didn't want to take away from a really deep message.
Okay.
But so yeah, it's really fun and poppy, and I would say youthful as well.
Yeah. Well, you're touching on that. So what does Good Looks mean? Why did you use that name for this entire album?
Good Look, it kind of comes from the lyric in Good as Gold, good looks ain't everything. And that's kind of the overall message with the record. Like I was saying earlier, I mean, there is so much pressure in the world these days. You're expected to be somebody, you're expected to, you know, do things a certain way. And it just kind of gets exhausting, to be honest. And it's, especially with social media these days, it just puts it like right in front of your face 24/7. And I think people feel bad about themselves, or just that they're not in the right place, especially, you know, scrolling through your social media feeds. You're like, why am I not doing that? You know, why don't I look like that? And so we're just kind of like sending a message that, you know, good looks aren't always everything. And, you know, and that's kind of really what we're trying to say with this record. So, yeah, that's kind of what Good Looks encompasses.
That's awesome. I love that, because yes, people are being more like, okay, be yourselves, but sometimes you still get into that war about what you want and stuff like that. So this album, I feel like, is going to be something that kids even just can touch on and be like, dude, just be yourself. Don't worry about all of that stuff. So
right. And yeah, and that's kind of, you know, as us as people, you know, we're in a band, and that's not necessarily the most you know, traditional way of life. And so we feel the pressures as well. And, you know, it was just our form of like getting out this frustration, you know, in 10 songs. And I really think people will be able to relate to that message.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. So your single, Good as Gold, Good Looks came from it. Another that we've had on repeat here on the show. Where did this song then come from? Is it basically the same message that you were talking about?
Yeah. Good as Gold was written really, really early on in the recording process for this new record. And at the time, I don't think we knew that it was, the foundation for this whole release. It was just a song with a message that we really wanted to get out there. But then the more and more we started writing, it was kind of like the same subject matter.
Okay.
And, we started to realize that, this is kind of what we want to do with this release. We want to get this message out there. So yeah, the first single, Good as Gold, it's definitely encompassing everything what the record's about in one song.
You said you started writing and everything at the beginning of this year. When would you say was the end date when you were like, okay, this can go to masters? How long did it take?
Well, we did a lot of touring in between recording sessions. So from start to finish, we were done right before the summer hit. As you know, we wanted to do bigger things with the release with a vinyl pressing and all this stuff. So we had to get it done at a certain date for all this to hit the fall. So yeah, it was right before the end of summer, or the beginning of summer, I'm sorry, when we got the record done. And then it was right in time to, get back on the road in the summer. So we had to get it done then.
Yeah. With touring then in between, was there any time where you could go back and listen to it and want to go maybe redo a song at all?
Yeah. With touring, obviously you're spending a lot of time in a vehicle. Yeah. We always have, the aux cord plugged into our phones. So we were just, jamming the demos, jamming what we already laid down in the studio a lot. And yeah, so there was actually a couple songs that we actually went back and totally redid. And I think it was a product of that,
Yeah.
Sitting on these demos and not 100% happy with them, and knowing that we had time to get back in the studio and kind of rework it. Yeah, there was definitely...
Well, what was one of those songs that just completely changed for you guys?
Oh, shoot. Let's see. Teenage Horror was definitely one of them.
Okay.
It was kind of a style that we always wanted to do with this band. And I think going into it, we weren't 100% sure how to accomplish that. And so the initial try was a little rough. And then we kind of sat on the demo. We're like, okay, this is kind of what we want to do, but not exactly.
Yeah.
So we kind of were able to use the time in between the studio sessions to rework that song and, come up with what you guys are hearing today.
Yeah. Well, hey, if this is the final product, we're good. It's really good.
Yeah. I don't think people want to hear the
So we've been talking about it all night. It's going to be released tomorrow. How can people get the album Good Looks and all the things you have to offer for them?
Yeah. Good Looks. Obviously, it'll be available on all the digital retailers, Spotify, iTunes, all that will be up at midnight. But then also we have our web store, storytoldband.com/store. We have a limited first vinyl pressing, which we're really excited about. We have the CD format of the record, and we actually hit the road tomorrow as well for 10 days. So if you're at a show, we'll have both of those physical copies available as well.
Nice. You mentioned touring. It's starting tomorrow. Can we expect to see you guys throughout the rest of 2017 touring? Or what do you guys have to offer?
Yeah, we are doing this 10-day run with 7 Minutes in Heaven this October, and then we won't be out on the road too much for the rest of the year. We're trying to gear up for a big 2018 in terms of touring.
Okay.
But we will definitely be back out, early 2018.
Awesome. So, oh my God, we're looking forward to seeing you guys. We're touring. Everywhere you guys continue to grow and you just keep making great music. You're doing it all, and I'm excited to watch the ride. I mean, this is only album number 3, so I'm excited to see where you guys go in the future.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to end things with your single. So if you want to introduce this.
Hey guys, this is Josh from A Story Told, and you're about to listen to our new single, Good as Gold.